G'day guys, welcome to episode 37 of Ask Jack that we are filming off an iPhone today in the Virgin Lounge in Melbourne as we trek slowly back to Sydney from our travels during the week. Today we are taking a question from the Twitter floor from a man called Alistair who asked a brilliant question. Alistair, shoot.
Hi Jack, this is Alistair from Perth Hand Car Wash. Hey mate, I just want to know what your biggest mistake has been in business and what you learnt from that, and also what has been the best piece of advice that someone has given you and that you still use today and that's helped your business. Thanks mate, bye.
Alistair, brilliant question. Number one, my biggest mistake. My biggest mistake, honestly, earlier on in my career was probably a lack of focus, which I spoke about in episode 37, which I think is the biggest barrier to growth for early stage businesses in Australia. We try and do too much, right? We try and pursue too much opportunity. It doesn't work. Pick one thing. But Alistair, if I had to pick another thing, another mistake that I made early on, it was probably assuming that everybody else had the answers. I've always been big on mentors. I've always been big on advisors. Still am. But the difference is, and this intertwines into the second part of your question around what has been my biggest lesson from a mentor. My biggest lesson was from a guy called Peter Davison, right? He was probably one of the most formative mentors I've had throughout my entire life, other than my father. And you know, Peter and I, we'd sometimes go to the Blue Mountains together and hang out for a few days and just talk business. Peter was a seed funder in PayPal, hugely successful investor, entrepreneur, awesome dude. And Peter always used to say to me, you know, this is probably 5 years ago now, he always used to say, Jack, you always look up to the older dudes and look up to see what they're doing and get their experience and get their insight. I reckon the magic is in the younger dudes. It's in you. It's in the innovation that you come up with before you have the experience and before you have the answers. So tap into yourself. And that sort of shifted my compass a little bit to a point now where, you know, one of my biggest mantras that I constantly remind myself and everybody around me of is when the voice inside your head is louder than the voices outside your head, that's when you've begun to master your life. So I still engage mentors. I still engage advisors. I still engage in education, probably more so than anybody else I know. The difference is that I now put it all through my own filters and my own values and go, how would Jack apply this? Or how would the Entourage apply this? Or how would the Entourage Growth Fund apply this? Because everything we do is so remarkably different, like genuinely remarkably different from what everybody else does, that if we just, you know, asked some grey hair some questions and did what they told me to do verbatim, it'd be intellectually lazy and we'd lose our heartbeat. We'd lose what would be unique about us, right? So one of my biggest mistakes was thinking other people had the answer. And one of my biggest lessons from an awesome mentor in Peter Davison was that the best answers always come from yourself. The other thing I want to touch on in this episode before we cut is in episode 36, I spoke about focus. And I want to thank Kat Lee Reese, or Reyes, I'm not sure how I pronounce it, for commenting on the video, because she asked the question that I didn't address in the video, and she said, Jack, what if we want to start a new venture that's complementary to our existing venture? And the answer is this: don't do it until the existing venture is highly profitable, running under management without you. Kat, what you've highlighted is what everybody does. They go, well, I'm going to go and do this, but that's okay because it complements what I'm doing in my core business. The answer is no. We need to stay focused to such an extent, and when the core business is profiting, pick a number, 10 grand a month, 100 grand a month, whatever it might be, then you can go and start new ventures that might complement that. But don't think that by starting complementary ventures, we'll be able to grow to once. It doesn't work like that. Pick one thing and become the best in the world at it. Kat, thank you for that subsequent question on the back of 36. And Alistair, thank you for the question for 37. We're loving doing these episodes every day, guys. Yeah, we're getting heaps of video questions. So film some video, ask me a question, ask me some cool shit, upload it to your Instagram, upload it to your Twitter, hashtag AskJackD, and I will continue to answer your questions regardless of where we might be every single day.